In our first story, residents of Taha and adjoining communities this morning have taken over the bridge linking their communities and the rest of the metropolis in protest over the slow pace of work. The residents earlier this week raised concerns about the diversion and the inconvenience it had created. They also raised concerns about where people would pass should the rain set in. With just one heavy rainpour last night, I should say, the bridge got flooded, making it difficult for commuters to pass. Some of the residents have been speaking to Joy News.
Been here for over years, and we have all been suffering. And they have given it to a contractor. Instead of the contractor should give us a road which will be passing once he will be working. He did not give us the diversion, and he has blocked the road. Now it has rained. Look at all this place. The whole place is flooded, and we are looking for this contractor to come and tell us something reasonable. We can't find him, so we are appealing to the government and the DC that they should come and see what is happening here, because we are all human beings. When you just cross here, you can't do anything again. Why? So we are there. Even if you come and look at the iron rods the contractor is using, we are not happy with it. But he should just come and give us a temporary road which all of us can pass. Look at all these machines here, vehicles here. All of us are suffering. So that is our appeal to the government. This is not a matter of politics. We should remove MPP and DC in this matter and fight for our right, because we are all Ghanaians. Nobody should do politics with this thing. Thank you.
The bridge plan, the contractor, those who are working there said they don't have any plan on that. And we said the iron rods they are using, they were using 14 to do the tow. And when we needed to know the tow, whether it's 4 feet down or 3 feet, because when you are constructing a bridge, it is the tow that is the most important thing. So when we requested for those things, they say they don't have plan based on those things. So we have seen that secondly, the iron rods they are using, it is a main road, and the heavy trucks are always on this road. So we say we want to see and get the actual plan, and the iron rods they are using, we are not satisfied with that one. And it is getting to rainy season. So we want to get a proper diversion. We asked the contractor, he told us that the diversion money is not part of his contract. So we need a better diversion so that you can now do his work with the proper materials. Other than that, if he wants to use he wants to do the shoddy work for us, we will not.
Now, works engineer at the Sanarigo Municipal Assembly, Baba Issa, has been responding to these issues.
Was given.
The contract was given about 2 months back.
2 months back?
Yes.
And it took you how long to mobilize and come? Considering that we were expecting rains, and that has always been an issue here.
He came about a month or so. He came to site about a month. That was the time we got him to site. When you sign a contract to site, you need 1 month to be able to start mobilizing site.
So it takes 1 month to mobilize, but it's 2 months now. I pass here a lot, and since I started passing, I have seen this thing like this for the past 3 weeks. What has changed?
Initially, he said, like I said, in the arrangement of the bus, he didn't do it according to our design. So we instructed him to redo it. That was what brought about the standstill. You get that? It wasn't as if
when are you expected to finish?
It's a 6-month contract, but we kept on telling him that this one, he should be mindful of the weather, because this is a major and water passes here. If he's not able to work within that time, community will be cut off. So we kept on reminding about that. What brought about the delay was the initial arrangement of the bus, which was in accordance with.
Now, resources is always a problem. Has he got the capacity?
Martina Bugri has joined us with more. Martina, when you came to us at 10 a.m., things were at a deadlock there. Has the road been cleared now? Is traffic able to flow?
Yes, for now, traffic is flowing. What they did was the residents themselves first gravel some portion of the road so that it will be accessible for people to pass. And so that's what people are using currently. And after the time I was leaving the place the contractor's machinery had also arrived. What we are being told is that they are going to get the water out of the road he had cut and the diversion he had made, and so that they would gravel it to make it easy for people to move in and out. But the residents' concern is that once that is done and there's another heavy rain, it will wash it off. And so it means that they would always have to be stranded each time there's a rainfall. And so their concern is how the bridge will be completed within the shortest possible time to make it easy for people to move in and out of the area.
Now, in your interview with the works engineer, Martina, he said that this work should take 6 months. Do they have any contingency plans for this rainy season? Because the work would not be done before this rainy season is over.
Exactly. He says that they want to make a diversion and then gravel, but that might not work because there was a diversion in the first place, so they didn't gravel it. But when the water came in, it blocked that place. And so you can't come in, you can't go. So it looks as if when that is done, there will still be that same water taking over the place. Now, the main issue is the two big drains in the metropolis, the Gariba Lodge drain and the Kalpohini drain, all moved through. That is the exit of those drains. And so once it rains in these areas, these waters will definitely move to that bridge. Right. And what it means is that bridge will continuously be flooded anytime it rains. And this means that the residents will be cut off from the rest of the metropolis or the world.
There's definitely a lot to untie there. Martina, keep following the story, of course. We'll be expecting more updates from you on the issue. We'll stay on transportation, though, this time in the capital, as commuters on the Accra and Sawam Highway spent over 6 hours in traffic this morning after a truck broke down in the middle of the stretch. Joy News' checks reveal the situation has improved now after engineers working on the site intervened. Here's a recap of the earlier situation by Joy News' Manuel Kranting.
And it's been like this for close to 4 solid hours. We're told that the traffic started building up around 4:30 a.m. with motorists who are Accra bound, some from Nsawam, and this is of course the Accra Kumasi Highway. The problem, we are told, is that due to ongoing construction on the Pokwasi interchange, there's been a diversion to allow for further works. And that has, and of course, because of the rains last night, a lot of the chippings that were filled have been washed away. And this become a real problem for the motorists who have been plying this particular route. On the other side of the road, which is Kumasi bound, we see a free flow of vehicles and so on. But let me try and speak to a few of them. My boss, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Trust you're doing well.
What?
Trust you're doing well, sir.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you been in the traffic?
It's getting to 4 hours.
Getting to 4 hours. Where's this traffic building up from?
I don't know the actual place, but I'm coming from Kumasi.
But you are coming from Kumasi and you've been in the traffic for 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah.
What are some of the things that you see? For some of the people, they tell us that there's driver indiscipline and people are crossing and so on. Is that something that you've seen on the road?
I'm just joining my queue, so for that one, I didn't say anything about that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So this man is coming from Kumasi, and he's telling me that he's been in the traffic for 4 hours. And that's been the problem here. He's yet to even hit the Pokwasi interchange, which we are told is the cause of the traffic. We'll try and speak to a few of the people. And these are goods-only, heavy-duty trucks, which have been traveling for so long. My boss, if you have a call. Now, Okano, how many hours now? What drive you are?
I didn't bear 2 hours.
What didn't bear 2 hours? Who feel never?
If you Kumasi.
Who feel Kumasi? And where feel traffic? Where feel?
Every way, media side never.
It's in Midday side all the way up to this place. Traffic 2 hours.
2 hours.
Now Midday up to this place no. Over how many minutes and how do you?
By 25 minutes. Now maybe.
Now go with what park? And I say 2 hours.
2 hours.
It's how?
Can't crash.
Can't no my issue.
Because I can't see form.
Because I can't no see form.
Now my zabefu.
I see. But that's any moving kakra into angel na call. And so that's a picture here. For some of them, they've been in the traffic. This gentleman is just telling me that he's been in the traffic for 2 hours. And this is a heavy-duty truck which is loaded, is loaded up. And he says he's been in the traffic for 2 hours. And he's coming also from Kumasi. And he says that the traffic has been building up from Midday. And this picture that you are seeing is even, a reduction of the earlier situation in the morning.
Now, the resident engineer Kwabna Bimpong, has joined us live with updates. Good afternoon, engineer. Thanks for your time. What really caused today's gridlock?
Good afternoon to your viewers. What caused the challenge this morning was the result of the heavy rains that we experienced last night, which virtually washed temporary diversion that we had done, which linked diversion, which is asphalted, onto the main road. And this morning I was there and I drew the attention of the contractor, and we have quickly placed some gravel there. And you see, this is between the walkway and the road. So as I speak to you now, that has been done. But then we are looking for a more sustainable solution, because we are currently constructing the Pokwase footbridge. And this is something that we've held up for a very long time because of the issues like this. But then we realized that if we don't do anything about it, then we will never be able to construct that particular footbridge.
So if I can understand what the situation is, the road is there's supposed to be a diversion because of the construction, and that diversion was blocked.
Correct.
Because the rains washed away the covering for the road.
Okay, the rain washed only a small, the diversion is basically in asphalt.
Okay.
And the point where it transits, over our completed walkway and the completed asphalt road, because we've completed the whole of the Accra Kumasi section, and where it transits, that's where the challenge was. And then there was a broken down vehicle which caused a lot of backlog
Has that vehicle been towed? Has that vehicle been towed?
Yes, I believe it has been towed. Because as at 6 a.m. this morning it was there. But I believe it has been told by now, because our contractors have gone back to complete it. I've just finished with a meeting with my staff, and I'll be heading down there very soon.
Now, we know that there was a lot of rain yesterday, but we are in the season. We are entering the season. So what are the plans we are making to ensure that this does not occur in the future? Because we are expecting a lot of rain coming into the season. It started very early this year.
Well, luckily for us, this is only a temporary diversion, because we are building the footbridge, as I said earlier on. Once that is completed within the next month or two, this is not going to be any more of a challenge, because in the past few weeks, we never experienced such a thing. It is just because we've done a diversion, and it's not even the whole diversion. The diversion has been asphalted, and I believe your reporter can attest to that. But then the last portion where it meets the existing road, or where we've already asphalted, that is what we use quarry dust, because if you use any hard material, we will end up destroying the pavement structure, the surface of the pavement. So we've been using quarry dust, but unfortunately this was washed. And as I speak to you now, they've gone into the use of gravel, but this gravel will be surfaced. I've told the contractor that we need to put in a temporary asphalt over the connection, so that we don't destroy what we've already constructed, and also not to cause the challenge that we had this morning. But
Engineer Bimpong, it sounds to me like you could have done the temporary asphalt earlier instead of using quarry dust.
No, the temporary asphalt was done many months ago. The connection
that's what I mean.
From the asphalt
for it to meet. Yeah, for it to meet it. Yes, I'm saying that we could have done the temporary asphalt on the connection to avoid this problem as opposed to using quarry dust? No?
Let me explain to you. You see, if you put asphalt on the already existing road, you are going to destroy the pavement. So it was a catch-22 situation. Whether we do asphalt or we do something that is, and then, it's temporary, but then we keep maintaining it. And that's what we have done over the past week. We've not had, any challenge. But unfortunately, as you rightly pointed out, the rains came in and destroyed what we have done. So we would obviously look at another alternative.
I'm simply pointing out the fact, if my observation is right, that how we are solving the problem now is simply something we could have applied earlier, engineer. We cannot really ignore that, can we?
Well, it's there are always many solutions to a problem. And we have used this solution on the Awoshi Road, and we do not have any challenge, okay? But this has exposed, the rains have exposed the solution that we have.
Is the nature of the Awoshi Road not fundamentally? Is the nature of the Awoshi Road not fundamentally different? Is the nature of the Awoshi Road and the surrounding terrain not fundamentally different from what we have at Pokwase? You're heading up a mountain at Nsawam. In Awoshi, it's not like that.
Is that what?
I'm saying in Awoshi is not exactly like that.
The Awoshi Road, it is just, it's the same. We did the same thing. Because, we have raised curb of about 200 millimeters. So that raised portion across the walkway, that is what we did. And the same thing for the median. Because we are crossing over a completed road section. And we needed to put in a material that will not lead to a destruction of the already completed asphaltic surface. And that is why we went in for the quarry dust, because we have used crushed rock in the past, but unfortunately the crushed rock ended up destroying the pavement surface. So now what we do is that we put it in tarpaulin and put in the
quarry dust.
The quarry dust. And that seems to work, because that is softer on the asphalt.
Engineer Bimpon, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Engineer Kwabena Bimpon is the project engineer for that. Basically, the understanding is that the issue is being resolved, but with a temporary asphalt situation, the way it's being done elsewhere. Let's move to health. And Ghana has recorded a significant drop in active COVID cases between February and April 2021. That's from over 8,000 to less than 1,500 cases. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje, is attributing the significant reduction to the vaccination exercise. According to him, the number of Ghanaians taking the safety protocol seriously went up to 52% when the vaccination started.
When you get to the Kotoka International Airport, which is a very major area of preventing importation of cases, we have so far tested about 1,400. We are recording 1,435 cases since we started on the 1st of September last year. Majority of them are non-Ghanaian citizens. Males outnumber 63% of that. We've done 233,000 tests on arrival since we started, with a cumulative positivity of 0.61%, and so it's not as high as the local community ones. But as you can see in the next slide, since January last year, our numbers that is being required at the airport has significantly reduced, averaging around 90s for every month. Around the Easter, we had a few issues. But that is not to say that we are out of the woods. We still have significant threats, especially with the third waves in Europe, the rising cases in India, Brazil, among others. These are also poses a threat to our cases, so we need to work very hard to prevent them, and that is why the work at the airport remains very, very significant, especially with the advent of new variants, which we may not know how the Ghanaian population will handle that. So the positivity rate at the airport has significantly reduced, but there's a slight rise, and I think that's all because of that. We have received a total of 966,850 vaccines. 600,000 from the COVAX facility, 50,000 from as a donation from the Indian government. We have 165,000 from MTN Africa, and then 149,000 as a second dose also from MTN Africa, bringing the total about 315,000 from the MTN group. Based on some of the WHO recommendations how to deploy AstraZeneca. The recommendation is that it has to be the dosage of between 8 to 12 weeks interval doses. That is, as far as vaccination is concerned, what we have most important is the minimum time within which a second shot or booster dose can be given. If you do it before that minimum date, you will not get any benefit. But sometimes the longer you wait, it still doesn't matter that you can still have your second shot and get your booster dose build up. The WHO have done a lot of studies and has also shown that number one is that if you give it before 4 weeks or before 2 weeks, there's virtually no benefit. But between 8 and 12 weeks is the best time to give. Even then, you would have lost some percentage of your antibodies. Is still effective enough to protect you. What is the efficacy of one dose? According to the studies that have been done globally and around, it protects you about 76% protection for over 90 days, which coincide with the 12 weeks we are talking about. But that's not to say second dose is not important. And so, given the vaccine availability, that is why we are now trying to shift it to the 12 weeks. But as vaccines made available, like I said, the earliest is the 8 weeks, and that you'll be giving your vaccination. There are significant efforts being made, and we have some assurance from COVAX that by May we'll get vaccination. And if we get our vaccine in May, we'll be able to do our second doses and as a service, we are more concerned with having more people with the first dose. Well, that's what can also cause the distance. But we've got enough, and there are also bilateral arrangements that are bringing in other COVAX vaccines, including Johnson & Johnson, which we are expecting probably in the third or fourth quarter of the year. And then a lot of work is going on to get vaccine Sputnik for everybody. So we are showing people that the fact that if you don't get it on the 8th week doesn't mean there's something wrong. We still have a 4-week window and beyond to have it, and we are expecting more vaccines to come in to provide the protection that we all need.
Meanwhile, the country has had to discard thousands of expired vaccines as at last Friday in the north. This is according to the Ghana Health Service, and they say it's mainly due to poor patronage of the rollout in the northern region. Dr. Kuma Boaje has been explaining that to the press.
Recently, there's been the story that we've had thousands of vaccines expiring in some regions. The truth of the matter is that the last 115,000 cases vaccines that were received, the second one we received on the 30th of March. The expiry date was on the 13th of April. So that means that by the time we offloaded and distributed to the region, we started distribution on Good Friday. That is when vaccines were moving into the region to ensure that they are used before they expire. All regions were able to use it except for 480 doses that could not be used in Northern region and 100 doses in OT. That is 48 bottles in Northern region and 10 bottles in. If you look at obviously that's quite low, and so the numbers are not so. But looking at the time frame that we had, I think we should congratulate the API program, the public health, and all the people in the region for the sterling work they did to ensure that the vaccines were given to people. Some of them were going to churches, going to chiefs' palaces to make sure that people who deserve the vaccines receive it. The total uploaded number of vaccines in our database is 783,560. But we have done more than about 850,000 already. As they continue to synchronize the data, the number will go up.
Now, Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esedu-Bekwe, has been elaborating on the reasons accounting for the poor patronage and expiry of the vaccines.
See, maybe we want to look at the vaccine rollout in the country. There were, let's say, two main batches. So there was the AstraZeneca type that came from India. That is 7,000. That batch is supposed to start in June, July. So that was what that was started. That one was mainly used in Accra, Ashanti, and then a little part of Central Africa. Then we had this allocation of 165,000 from Africa medical supplies through MD and Africa. So that one came, and the idea was that let's use that quantum for health workers across the whole country. Then a few days later, we had this allocation only from African medical supply. But when it came, the documentation was not very complete. So we had to wait for some time to get it complete. But let me, unfortunately for us, these vaccines that came late was also supposed to expire on the 13th of April. So we had to mobilize our team as much as possible, make sure that we deploy. And let me say that we had to go beyond our original schedule of, let's say, focusing on health workers. So let's say, let's get the whole population on board. So you realize they had to go to churches, you had to go to the mosque. Every person that was supposed to get the vaccine was actually made effort to arrive at. So as was said by DG, I think at the end of the exercise, we had about 48 vials, about 480 doses that we could not give. But I want to put on record that there's a country that even actually declined to get the vaccine when they had, because if you look at the time allocated to get the vaccine deployed, they couldn't. So they declined to pick up the vaccine. But we said that we have a robust management system program in place to can deploy it. So that's why we're able to deploy that large quantity of vaccines in that short period of time.
Right, but it is still a point, Dr. Isiedebe, that we have had to, unfortunately, waste some of the vaccines.
No, we don't. I won't say. You see, I think that what I'm going to put on record is that, as I said, if you have a country that decides that they cannot deploy. You see, one of the things that Ghana was the first country that had the COVAX facility was because of the robustness of our EPR system. And that was the reason why we were able to deploy that. So in total, if you look at it in total, we were able to deploy over 97% or over 98% of the vaccines within that short period of time. So you cannot get it wholly 100%, but we're able to do.
Back to Martina Bugri, and she has been engaging with some residents of the North who are telling Joy News why they have not taken the vaccines.
Because it's like the president himself knows that it's good, and that is why he's bringing it to them to protect myself.
Yes, I will take.
Because it's like the president himself knows that it's good, and that is why he's bringing it to the nation.
Yes.
So me, for real, the media I will not take.
No, I won't take it. People say if you take the vaccine, you die. So me, I don't want to take it and die. That's why I don't want to take it. Plenty people say they won't take, so why should I take? I don't want to take it and die. Only people taking it, plenty people taking it. So if the people take it, me too, I will take.
So me, for real, the media I will not take, because the sun that we are inside in Kamal, is more than the vaccine that they are going to give us. So the sun is better for me. So me, I'm not ready to take this kind of vaccine, or that's what they are calling it. You get me right? The sun have already concluded all the problems already. This sun, it has concluded all the problem already. It's a vaccine already. Go to the south and see that by this time it's raining. It has rained like more than 100 times for them.
Let's turn our attention from the vaccines and talk about the popular actress Rosamund Brown, also known as Ikeapim Polo, who is currently serving a 3-month jail sentence for posing nude with her son and posting it on social media. Well, her lawyer, Andrew Vortia, is claiming that the current Attorney General, Godfrey Adame, has expressed support for Ekuapem Polo's attempts to appeal the 3-month sentence, which was given last Friday. Listen to Andrew Vortia speaking on Prime Morning this morning on Joy Prime TV.
And for the first time to media this morning, that the Honorable Attorney General, Mr. Adame, called me personally to express his support on behalf of the cabinet on the appeal I intend filing this morning and the motion for bill pending appeal. He has my support. As when I hang out right now, I am going to the High Court to file those processes immediately. Okay. So that's the news that I have for.
When did he call you?
Yesterday around 4 o'clock, I had a call from him, and this morning I also had a call from him a little while ago.
How important is it that the Attorney General is calling to express his support for you?
Well, sir, it is up to you guys to call him to confirm or deny whatever I just said.
No,
so it can place a call to him right now.
We'll do that. We'll do that. But I'm saying that how important is it for your case that the Attorney General is calling?
He's also on the view that the 3 months, the 90-day custodial sentence is a bit harsh because the same child that the law tries to protect, you put on the scale now, is the child worse off or better off after this 90-day sentence? You know, is the child better off or worse? You know, the law intends to protect the child. That's why Papa was taken to court. Now she had a 90-day custodial sentence. So is the child worse off or better? So maybe they also on the view that the 90 days is a bit harsh.
Daryl Kwao has those details and more after this.
Hi there, time to do some business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The size of Ghana's economy is expected to jump from $62.8 billion to hit $70 billion by the end of the year. That's according to Fitch's April 2021 West Africa Monitor. Charles Nixon Yeboah has more.
This will translate into per capita income of $2,206 in 2021 from $2,020 recorded last year. However, the Ghana Statistical Service will this Wednesday release the actual growth rate estimate of the country for last year. Also, the total value of goods and services produced in the country is expected to go up by $5 billion to $75.5 billion next year and further to $83.2 billion in 2023. This will firm up Ghana's position as the 8th biggest economy in Africa. The economy is forecast to hit 4.5% this year, with all the sectors contributing to some extent to the relative appreciable growth rate for this year. Subsectors that are expected to drive the gross domestic growth rate are information and communication, fishing, and real estate. But the question many have been asking is whether the high growth rate is translating into jobs and improvement in the livelihood of the people. Meanwhile, Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa will remain first, second, and third biggest economies on the continent. Nigeria's economy is estimated at $466 billion.
Meantime, Ghana recorded $2.7 billion in foreign investments last year. Out of that, $2.65 billion was foreign direct investment. Let's hear from Information Minister Kojo Ponkuma, who says this signifies that Ghana is an attractive destination for investors.
Last year, from January to December 2020, despite the pandemic, 279 FDI projects with a total estimated investment value of about $2.7 billion were recorded for the Republic of Ghana. The FDI component, the one coming from abroad, was about $2.65 billion, and then about $145 million from the local market. Now, the FDI value of 2.6 is about almost 140% increase over the figure recorded in the year 2019. And we believe it is because of the gradual improvements we continue to make in the economic space here in Ghana, despite the challenges that we have around us, and even in particular, the challenges of the year 2020. If you look at the GIPC presentation that we flagged on the screen, and if we can just open it up a little bit, about 184 of those investments were in the area of services, 57 of them in manufacturing, 15 export trade, general trading was about 10, and the rest follow from there.
In other news, Minister for Communication and Digitalization Esther Usu-Kuffour has assured all local creditors of Airtel Tigo that government will ensure all payment obligations are met. This follows government's takeover of the company after a successful agreement with the mother shareholders last week. The minister told Joy Business that some commercial loans that have been impacting on the balance sheet of the company have been written off.
Now, the shareholders of Airtel and Tigo have taken, they are not passing on the shareholder loans which they advanced to the company. That's one of the main items which were hurting the balance sheet of the company. So 100% forgiven, more or less. They are not seeking repayment of those loans. There were also some commercial facilities that the company had taken. Key among them was a $100 million facility from Standard Bank. And that is also, the Airtel and Tigo have taken 50% of that facility. So the company is only now saddled with 50% of that liability. These measures also help free the company from the debt burden that it was under. We will use this opportunity to assure all local creditors of the company that we're going to sit down with them and look at ways in which we can assist the company to meet its obligations towards them. Because all those businesses have to all thrive and succeed. And that includes anybody that the company may be indebted to us at this stage. It is still working, so this is not the time for any subscriber to move away from that company.
Well, there's more business news coming up on the marketplace at the top of the hour. Meantime, you can keep up to date on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Up next, sports. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the sports segment on Joy News today. I am Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. On the AM show earlier this morning, we brought you a story about how coaches owed outstanding salaries by the Ministry of Youth and Sports have been paid. Black Stars coach CK Akuno has received 5 out of 11 months outstanding salaries owed him. However, out of that 5 months paid, only 3 months were paid in full. The Ministry of Youth and Sports deducted 40%, citing financial distress caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It will be recalled that in December 2020, the Minister of Youth and Sports, Isaac Esiama, had said that CK Akuno was going to receive a salary cut due to the economic hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. In total, CK Akuno received $105,000. Meanwhile, his predecessor, Kwesi Appiah, and his assistant, Ibrahim Tanko, they have received 5 months' salaries also owed them. Appiah received $108,000, while Tanko and other members of his technical team, per Joy Sports sources, their monies are undisclosed. Sports Minister Mustafa Yusuf initiated steps to settle the arrears about 2 weeks ago. The ministry held discussions on settling the entire arrears of Appiah, but resolved to pay just 5 months of that of Akuno. Sources say Tanko and other members of the technical team were paid in 2 tranches, 3 and 2 months respectively. A check for the remainder of the 2 matured just last week and it was fully cashed by them. For that of Appiah and CK, the ministry paid cash into their bank accounts. And still talking about national team coaches, the coaches who have received their arrears led Ghana to participate in the 2019 African Cup of Nations. One man who was an assistant to Kwesi Appiah was Ibrahim Tanko. According to him, the brouhaha surrounding the leadership of the Black Stars prior to the tournament was unnecessary because, according to him, Ghana could have participated in the 2019 African Cup of Nations in Egypt before returning to the country to decide on the future of Asamoah Gyan.
We had him, and I don't know what happened before the tournament, honestly. And they took the captain from him. None of the technical team except Coach Kwesi Appiah knew the reason why. So, I mean, when we went to the tournament, you could see that there is no too much involvement of him because of what happened before. He decided not to go, and the president play on his behalf, and we took him there. So, either is the right way to go with him or the wrong way, I can't tell, but I think we went with him, and what happened has happened, and that resulted us in playing the West African Cup of Nations tournament. Because of what happened before we even went there, there's no unity, of course. So I'm sure, or I hope that we learn from these things, that going forward we will do things better.
Would you have suggested that Gyan had gone to the tournament and probably come back before that conversation happened?
Yes, I'm sure that this is how it's supposed to be, because when you qualify to a tournament, you need all the players and the nation behind you. Of course, Gyan have a lot of people who admire him. You have a lot of fan base. Definitely, if these things happen, you divided the country. And this is what happened before we went to the tournament. That doesn't help us.
And do something on domestic football.
Time now for showbiz here on Joy News Today. With me, Noella Karen Iyali, and lawyer for Ghanaian actress Rosamund Brown. Lawyer Andrew Voshia has been given an update on the well-being of the actress, and he spoke to my colleague Daniel Datsy on the Prime Morning Show on the Joy News Joy Prime channel.
And for the first time to media this morning, that the Honorable Attorney General himself, Dr. Dami, called me personally to express his support on behalf of the cabinet on the appeal I intend filing this morning and the motion for bill pending appeal. He has my support. As when I hang out right now, I am going to the High Court to file those. As I visited yesterday, she's cool. She's in high spirits.
She's in high spirits?
Yes, please.
She's at Anchor 4 now, is she not?
No, please. She's still in the crowd. They'll be conducting a COVID test on her today. That come will determine where to send her.
Okay.
Was she allowed to see her son before she was remanded into custody?
Not at all.
And like you heard the lawyers say, she's in high spirits, so yeah, keep supporting her. But meanwhile, over 29,000 people have signed a petition to the president pleading with him to exercise his executive order to free the actress. And that's what you're seeing on the screens right now. If I can get a picture of the petition, I'd quickly read through it, but it says, over the last week, image of the artist Rosamund Brown, popularly known as Appiah Pimpolo, and her 6-year-old son resurfaced. The image is one of creative license and is not criminal. We, the creative industry of Ghana, are appalled at the judicial system's decision to jail Ms. Rosamund Brown. We are calling on the President of the Fourth Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to pardon this young single mother who can be blamed for perhaps poor judgment, but in no shape or form deserves incarceration. So basically, that's the petition. And like I said, a lot of people are signing the petition, including my good self. I don't know about Daniel Datsy. Daniel, did you sign it?
Hi, Noella. I think that's how I'll just wrap up the bullet.
But that'd be all for showbiz.
Thank you very much. You're looking lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, then. It's time for us to go. My name is Daniel Dazi. Many thanks for joining us. Up next is The Marketplace. See you tomorrow.